So we are back with another versus battle and another request by one of you guys. As you guys know, every week I ask for your requests for versus battles. And we started about 2 weeks ago where we did the Bleu de Chanel versus Dior Sauvage versus YSLY, the battle of the big three blues. Last week we did the battle of the hot weather fragrances. And now we have a request for the battle of the date night cool weather fragrances. So now that the weather is cooling down, as you can tell, it's getting cooler out right now. I'm wearing a hoodie. This is actually a perfect video. So today we're going to be doing 3 fragrances versus each other. First is the Most Wanted by Azzaro versus Spicebomb Extreme versus a brand new one this year, Jean-Paul Gaultier's Male Elixir. So without further ado, let's get it. Alright, my great smelling dudes, welcome back to my channel. You guys all know my name is Randy, aka FragranceDoud. If you don't, make sure to subscribe. Everybody else, like, comment, hit the bell, follow me on Instagram and TikTok so that we can get into episode 3 of our versus battles.
Prepare for battle.
And so if you haven't checked me out over the last few weeks, what I do is I take your requests for versus battles, 1v1, 1v1v1, and I put them together. It doesn't necessarily have to be the fragrances that are in the same genre or grouping. It could just be 2 fragrances you're interested in, and if I have them, I will do a versus battle for them. Again, they could be 2 random fragrances, one summer, one winter. It doesn't need to be necessarily ones that are comparable, but if you want to, just let me know in the comments what you want me to do a versus battle of, and if you are the winner of that week, I will obviously do it the next week. So the one that was requested for this week, we did the battle of the big 3 blues, the battle of the hot weather fragrances last week, and now we're doing the battle of the cool weather night out fragrances. Not necessarily cool weather, but because there is one in here that can be worn all year round. But with that said, most of these, now that we are leaning into fall, they are better for the fall and winter. As you can tell, again, I'm wearing a hoodie. It is getting cooler at night. Daytime still pretty hot. But today we're going to be doing 3 fragrances. Azzaro's the Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense versus Spicebomb Extreme versus Jean-Paul Gaultier's Male Elixir, a brand new release in 2023 and one of the best. So what do these fragrances all have in common? They have that heavy sweetness. Some of them are semi-gourmand. They either have some kind of vanilla or tonka in them, which tonka and vanilla are kind of very similar style notes. And so we're going to put those together, let you guys know both my unbiased and biased rankings at the end. But we're going to start out here with obviously my favorite and probably going to be the biased one in this video, Azzaro's the Most Wanted or Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense. So what does this smell like? Azzaro's the Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense is going to be a fresh gourmand. It starts out with a warm and spicy cardamom that has a nice fresh topic to it. So that is what's going to provide the freshness in this fragrance, is that cardamom, which cardamom can come off warm and spicy, which this one does, but it also does have that freshness, which leans to allow it to be worn pretty much night out all year round. That's why this is one of my favorite fragrances. My wife absolutely adores this fragrance. She wants me to wear it pretty much on any holiday, anytime we go out. She loves wearing this, for me to wear this, or wanted by night. Also, it has toffee, which provides that gourmand aspect. So that's why I say a fresh gourmand. So the toffee comes in, provides this ample sweetness. You also do get like an ambery quality that flows throughout the entire fragrance. And then just like the Most Wanted Parfum, which a lot of people don't know because it's not in the 3-note breakdown, but there is a bourbon vanilla in this fragrance as well. It's not as heavy or prominent as what you get in the Parfum, but it blends in very nicely with the amber wood and the dry down. But for the most part, this fragrance doesn't change too drastically. It gets a little bit more woody in the dry down, a little bit less sweet. But Most Wanted, it's cardamom, it's toffee, it's amberwood. It's a nice gourmand sweetness with a really nice texture underneath it that it doesn't necessarily feel creamy or powdery. It's kind of like a blend of the two, and that's why I really like it. Some people say it smells a little bit like grape soda or stronger with you intensely. I don't really get that at all. I know a lot of other reviewers don't either, but for me, this is one of, if not my favorite designer fragrance Love wearing out, great at night. And as far as the performance, I get 8.5 hours on it. On clothes, it's even more than that. I've always liked it. It's above average for the first 4 hours. Then it starts to climb down to be a personal bubble for 2, and then a skin scent. But Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense is one of the greatest releases that I've ever had as a designer fragrance lover. It's really good. And the bottle's pretty cool. Going into the second one, this is probably going to be my least favorite, personally. I've always maintained that because I've never been the biggest fan of powdery vanilla. While I do still like this fragrance and I wear it from time to time, I do not wear it nearly as much as the other two. Well, I can't really put Male Elixir in there yet because it's too heavy to wear until fall. But this is by Viktor and Rolf. It's Spicebomb Extreme. This has always been known throughout the fragrance community as the best Spice Bomb. For me, it's Spicebomb Infrared and Infrared Eau de Parfum, and then this. But if you like powdery vanillas, if you like something like Armani Code Parfum, or Armani Code Absolu, then you're probably going to like this fragrance. It doesn't really smell like Armani Code Absolu. It more smells like a less peppery version of Bvlgari Man in Black. I really do compare those two fragrances a lot because of that vanilla, the pepper. But this one, it's sweet, it's powdery, it's vanilla, but it's going to be mostly spices, tobacco, and vanilla. That is what this fragrance revolves around. You also get some pepper and then also a little bit of cinnamon, because there is cinnamon in most of these spice bombs. I think the only one that doesn't have it, and I could be wrong, is the Eau de Toilette Night Vision. I know the Night Vision Eau de Parfum does have it because it has that Wanted by Night bubblegum style vibe. But Spicebomb Extreme, it's a really nice fragrance. I can't knock it for that. I actually do really like this fragrance. It's just I don't like it as much as the other two personally. But I can see why people do like this. Again, this is going to be a really good performer as well. It's not as long as Most Wanted. I get about 6 to 7 hours, but as far as the projection, it is a spice bomb. It's going to project above average for the first 3 to 4 hours. Then it's going to be a personal bubble for pretty much the rest of the scent until the last hour, where it becomes more of a kind of skin scent, but not really. It's like an inch away. I do know on clothes it does last until the next day as well. But most of these style fragrances do. When you first spray it on, you get more of that pepper and a little bit less of the tobacco and vanilla that you get. It's more spicy in the opening, and that's usually what all of the spice bombs are like, at least the infrared, the original, this one, is that it's more of a spice bomb in the opening, and then as it settles down, you get into the base of the fragrance, which again is going to be tobacco, vanilla, with an undertoning spice. It's actually a very nice fragrance. More of a night out fragrance, but during the winter you can wear this all day. But as far as night out, I think that that's definitely a great fragrance. It's more of a winter fragrance though. I find that to be great during the winter, not necessarily the fall. I just find that to be more something that I love to wear whenever it's snowing outside, stuff like that. Great fragrance overall though. I can see why people like it. The Spice Bomb line is severely underrated, but again, I still like the infrared and infrared eau de parfum, which I'll probably do some kind of versus battle with the infrared versus Most Wanted, or the Wanted line versus Spice Bombs or something at one point in time, because those are two of my favorite lines. But that is Spicebomb Extreme. Really nice if you like a peppery, spicy vanilla with a little bit of woods and some tobacco. That is what the fragrance is. I don't get too much tobacco like some people say. The tobacco really just floats in the middle there. But with that said, we're getting into the third one here. This one is going to be the newest release. When I first got this in, it was hot outside. It was 90 degrees, and it soured on my skin, and I didn't like it on my first impression. But then a week later, I came back, and I said this is probably the release of the year. This is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Male Elixir. The gold naked man bottle. So my wife calls it the naked lady bottles. But I can't really smell it right now. I don't want to spray it. It's going to be hot out in a little bit, but I'll do it anyway. I'll wash it off. So this is going to be super heavy tonka. I can't get this back on. It's definitely elixir status. It's an ambery vanillic style fragrance with lavender, mint, and then you also do get this heavy tonka. If you don't like vanilla or tonka and very heavy versions of that, you're not going to like this. If you don't like a little bit of powder, you're not going to like this. But as far as sweetness, as far as the amount of mass appeal from this fragrance, it's crazy. This is going to be one that you want to wear on anything like 50 degrees and below. I don't think it's going to work outside of that because of how heavy it is. It's definitely more of a night out fragrance. And just like Spicebomb Extreme, I find this to be more of a winter leaning fragrance because of that heavy tonka, but you can definitely wear it in the fall as well. This fragrance is literally what I just said. It is taking that Le Male DNA, that lavender, a little bit of mint, some aromatics, mixing that together underneath of a heavy tonka. This is tonka throughout the entire fragrance, and make no mistake, the tonka is about 80% of the fragrance. It is really, really heavy with an ambery backbone. So picture an tonka amber, a little bit of spice, and then you get that lavender flowing throughout. But unlike the other Le Males that are out there, the lavender doesn't really take a heavy portion of this fragrance. It really is overtaken by that tonka. But the way that the notes are blended, it comes off. It's a very mass appealing fragrance. My wife absolutely loves it. Very heavy, so it's probably a 2 to 3 sprayer, kind of like Sauvage Elixir, just a little bit less. But for sweet fragrances, you want to spray less anyway. So as far as performance, on skin, on clothes, it doesn't matter. You're getting like a day. On clothes, you're probably getting like 3 days. I mean, it's a heavy fragrance. It is, you only need this size, 75 milliliters. You don't need anything bigger than that, because unless you're like someone crazy and wants to spray it 5 or 6 times, you're just going to kill people. But Male Elixir, fantastic fragrance. But again, you have to like tonka, and I absolutely love that fragrance. As far as the ratings of those, before I put them in order, Most Wanted, I've already said, is like a 9.5 for me. It always has been, always will be. You guys can knock me for it, or you can say I agree, because I know it's just great. This one is probably an 8.5. I really like it, but I still wouldn't put it in my top tier fragrances of all time or anything. It's close though. Then this one, I would probably say, for me personally, it's about an 8. So that would rank them, my biased ranking. My biased ranking is 3, 2, 1. An unbiased ranking, if you were to ask 100 random people which one do they think is the best, I would probably still say this is number 3, this is number 2, and then this is number 1, because this is absolutely adored across TikTok, across a lot of YouTube. But a lot of people on YouTube, there's probably about 30% that just don't like it. But I know that fragrance is talked about a lot. I have a feeling in a couple years this could overtake Most Wanted just because of the mass appeal. But right now it's not out to the point where so many people have tried it that it could. But as of right now, I would say, as an unbiased opinion, it's still the same as my ranking. Just Spicebomb Extreme, Male Elixir, and then this. If we were just going based on popularity right now, I would probably say, obviously, it would go 3, 2, 1, because again, this one hasn't been out that long. But let me know what you guys think. Which, as far as the scent alone, which one would you put at number 1, 2, and 3? Again, Most Wanted, this is going to be unbiased. It's almost unfair. I almost substituted this out for something like Armani Code Absolu, but it's discontinued. But thank you very much to the person who did recommend this video. I think it's a very good versus video. Any of those are going to do well at night. Someone's going to say, unless the person that you're with doesn't like sweet fragrances, because all of them, don't get me wrong, they have sweet and spiciness to them. Every one of them do. If you're looking for more gourmand, go with this. If you're looking for a heavier fragrance, go with this. If you're looking for sweet and spicy, go with this. That's pretty much, it's all about what your personal taste is. So yeah, let me know in the comments. And again, I'll be back with another versus video next week. Remember, if you want to have yours mentioned in a video done about a versus battle, let me know what fragrances you want me to do next week. Thank you guys so much. You have a great day. Peace out.